What's up, people? My name is Jeffrey Kaminsky, and today I'm going to tell you how you can wrestle better at your next tournament. Obviously, a lot of that work's going to be done in the practice room, but the things we're going over today are the controllables that require absolutely no skill and will allow you to wrestle up to your potential. So, if you are a practice wrestler who beats everybody's ass in the room but goes 0-2 at tournaments, this is the video for you. The first controllable is weight management. And at OWU, we manage our weight, we do not cut weight. That means that throughout the week, as you get closer to competition, you eat a little less every day, maybe do some extra cardio here and there to get your weight down gradually. Contrast that to crash cutting, where you lose 10 pounds the night before a tournament. You'll still make weight, but getting your weight down the wrong way means you're gonna feel like crap the day of competition, and you're gonna lose to kids who are not better than you. Whereas if you get your weight down the right way, you're going to perform better on the day of the tournament. The second controllable is your nutrition. Because throughout an average tournament, you're going to wrestle anywhere from 4 to 6 matches. And that requires a lot of fuel to sustain the amount of high effort. And this process starts before you even officially weigh in. So you need to get to a tournament early enough where you can go check your weight on all the scales. And most likely on the heaviest scale, or the one you know what you're weighing in on, you want to be 0.2 under, just in case the scale fluctuates. You do not want to be a pound under. That is wasted weight. You want to take that weight and refuel and rehydrate up to 0.2 under your weight class. That way, by the time you actually hit the mats and compete, you'll have a leg up in your competition because that fuel is already rejuvenating your body. So what you do after you step off the scale is going to depend a little bit. If it's a 1 hour weigh-in, you need to have the bare minimum of what you need to function, or else if you eat too much, you're going to feel like crap during a warm-up. If it's a 2 hour weigh-in, you can live it up a little bit. But either way, as soon as you step off the scale, you should be rehydrating. I always bring like a water bottle or a Gatorade and put it right next to me so I can have it right after I weigh in. And it should be a mix of water and electrolytes. If you have too much water and no electrolytes, you're not hydrated. And similarly, if you have too much electrolytes in your body and not enough water, you're also not hydrated. You should be sipping on this. If you chug it super fast because you're thirsty, you're gonna end up feeling bloated and crappy during a warm-up, which also is not good. As far as food goes, you need stuff that you can easily get down that's not too rich. But there are a couple of things that you need. The first of which is fast absorbing sugars. These are your candy, your fruit snacks, your Gatorade, etc. Because your body is really low in sugar, so you need to get stuff that's gonna raise your blood sugar immediately. But you can't just have that. You also need slower digesting sugars like your fruits, peanut butter, sandwiches, etc. so that you have fuel for the rest of the day. Something else you might want to consider is the fact that since you probably haven't been eating as much the last couple of days, your body is probably low on the vitamins and minerals that it needs to function. So you might want to consider adding in like a multivitamin or D3 or something like that. And then between matches, you pretty much follow the exact same formula. Hydrate, slow sugar, fast sugar. You just gotta make sure that you actually do it. I know it's hard sometimes after a match, you're exhausted and you just want to go sit down somewhere, but you need to make sure what you're eating so that you have energy for the rest of the day. The next controllable is our arousal level. And this means something slightly different in the world of sports performance than it does in everyday life. It's basically a measure of how hyped up or excited you are on a scale of generations to come. You are to this. And if you're on either end of the spectrum, you're not going to be able to perform at your best. If you're over here, you're going to be super amped up and making poor judgment calls during the match. And if you're over here getting defeated by bicycles and sets of stairs, you're gonna get blast doubled onto your back. So we wanna be at our peak performance, and this can be measured or kind of shown by an inverted U, where if you're on one end or the other, you're not gonna perform at your best. This is your little Goldilocks zone up here where you're gonna perform at your peak. And this is gonna look different for different people. Maybe mine's here, maybe yours is here, or maybe you're shifted over there. Anyways, this is where our peak level performance is, and we want to be there at the right time, which is during our match, because this is very stressful on the body. And if you are here for too long, you're going to get burnt out and have no energy for the rest of the day. This means on the bus ride there, or before warm-ups, before weigh-ins, you probably shouldn't be listening to your hype music. You should be chilling out and relaxing. The same thing is true after your matches. Win or lose, high or low, you need to get back down to this little baseline and chill out as soon as you can. The same thing is true between matches. You need to be relaxing as long as you can and waiting to get up to here for your match. So we want our peak level of arousal and performance to be during our matches. And the main way we're going to make that happen is with a pre-match routine. Now this is a ritual which you have to develop and do before every single one of your matches to help you flip the switch and get in the proper headspace to go out there and compete and beat this shit out of someone. And this is also going to help you deal with competition anxiety, because once you have a ritual set in place that you do before every single one of your matches, you kind of start to realize that those butterflies in your stomach, those are not a feeling of anxiety. That is adrenaline helping you to go out there and do your job. So, in addition to your physical warm-up before your matches, you need to add in some kind of mental stuff to help you get in the zone, whether that's music or cues you're telling yourself or some kind of movement. When you look at it, every single successful athlete who has competed at a high level has some kind of pre-competition ritual or routine. I mean, Jordan Burroughs would always talk about pulling up his socks, and here's a little clip of Kerry Collette talking about what he used to do.
You know, one, I used to pull my straps on my singlet, and then when I stepped on the mat, I would stomp my feet. And then the last trigger for me that was really big, and this was just a little thing that I developed, was I didn't shake hands, man. I smacked hands. And I got yelled at it by the refs all the time for it, but I needed that. Even if I'd be okay with getting yelled at by the ref, because I needed that to just, boom, okay, let's go. And I'd start moving my hands and feet, and at that point, it was gone for me.
All right, the last thing we have to consider with arousal is if you're taking caffeine, you want to make sure that that's actually giving you energy for your match. And since it takes a little bit of time to absorb in your body, you got to think ahead and consume that caffeine around like 30-ish minutes before you think your match is going to start, so it's actually hitting you when you need that energy burst. It's also important to consider microdosing your caffeine and having a little bit here and there throughout the day, instead of having one large portion of caffeine once, so that you don't crash and you can have sustained levels of energy throughout the entire tournament. The fourth and final controllable is your temperature, because being warm is going to help you perform better and make sure that you don't get injured, because warm tissue stretches, whereas cold tissue tears. So if you're sitting in cold, sweaty clothes the whole day, not only you're not going to be ready to perform in your matches, you might also be putting yourself at an increased risk of injury, which is not good. So we want to stay warm the whole day. This is going to start with your team warm-up, because after you're done weighing in, eating, your blood sugar is still probably going to be pretty low and you're going to be really cold. So you need to put on an extra layer so you can get a sweat going. But once that sweat starts going, you need to take that extra layer off, so if you're not getting too dehydrated from sweating too much. And after you're done with your team warm-up, you need to stop that sweat as fast as you can while still staying warm. So take a towel or some spare shirts and wipe off that sweat until you stop sweating, and then immediately put on new dry clothes to keep your body warm. And then before your match, you want to be as warm as you can possibly be, which means you probably need a long sleeve bottom and a long sleeve top on top of your singlet. And you want to keep these on as long as you can before your match actually starts. What I usually do is when I'm on deck, I'll take one of the layers off, and then when I see that there's 30 seconds left in the match or somebody's about to get pinned, that's when I'll take my other layer off and get ready to go. If I took my stuff off way before the match even starts, my body's going to get cold, and that warm-up I just did is for nothing. The same kind of concept applies after your match is done. You need to dry yourself off and then put the pump covers back on until you need to get ready to go again. So some key takeaways from this are that you need multiple layers of clothes for a tournament, especially if you are a sweater. That's going to help you maintain a constant body temperature and make sure that you're performing well and not getting hurt. Alright, so those are all the little controllable things that you need to be doing at every single one of your wrestling tournaments in order to be able to wrestle to your best ability. And I hope that this is the missing piece of the puzzle for some of you to having the success that you want. Because the good thing about these things is that they require absolutely no skill, you just have to do them. And so if this video helped you out, I'd appreciate it if you'd help me out by liking the video, sharing it, and subscribing for more content. I'll see y'all later.